Marvel's biggest movie franchise just got even wider with the characters coming in brand new day. Here are the 20 most powerful characters in the Spider-Man universe. Number 20. Punisher. Frank Castle sits at the floor of this list for one simple reason. He's a brutally trained ex-Marine with no powers, no super soldier serum, and no symbiote. Just guns, knives, and a trauma-fueled mission. John Bernthal's version, locked in through Daredevil Born Again and confirmed to swing back into Brand New Day, is the most grounded threat on this entire ranking.
Go home!
Against street-level criminals, he's a nightmare. Against anyone wearing spandex with actual abilities, he becomes a guy who has to pick his fights extremely carefully. He earns his spot through tactic, not muscle, and that's exactly why he opens the list. Number 19. Vulture. Adrian Toomes is a step up because he comes with toys. Without the suit, he's a working-class engineer with a grudge. With it, he's flying, snatching Spider-Man straight out of the air and dropping him from terrifying heights. His Chitauri Tech wings give him real combat range, his blades cut through metal, and Michael Keaton sold the menace better than most MCU villains ever managed. The catch is that everything depends on the gear. Strip the wings off and he's back to being a regular human. That hardware ceiling is what keeps him just above Frank Castle and nowhere near the heavy hitters waiting up the list. Number 18. Mysterio. Quentin Beck is barely a fighter at all, which is exactly why he sits this low. What he actually is the most dangerous illusionist in the Spider-Man universe. His drone tech and holographic projections in Far From Home were good enough to fake a multiversal hero and trick Nick Fury himself, which is genuinely insane when you think about it. But strip away the prep time and the tech setup, and Mysterio is basically a special effects engineer stuck inside a fishbowl helmet. Against any direct combat threat that doesn't fall for the trick, he loses fast. He's a real threat through deception, but pure power-wise, this is exactly where he belongs.
See, that wasn't so hard.
Somebody get this stupid costume off me!
Number 17. Scorpion. Mac Gargan has been waiting 9 years in the MCU for his moment, and Brand New Day is finally giving it to him. Michael Mando is officially back. The suit has already shown up in promo material, and the trailer pretty much guarantees the rematch fans have been dying for. Scorpion's whole deal is the biomechanical tail, super strength, and a body modified to push past human limits. He hits harder than Vulture and can keep up with most street-level threats, but he's all aggression with very little plan. He's the kind of villain who breaks Spider-Man's ribs in a brawl, then loses the moment things get strategic.
Out of my way.
Number 16. Dr. Octopus. Otto Octavius is where this list really starts to bite.
Hello, Peter.
His brain is borderline genius, easily one of the sharpest minds on this entire ranking, and his 4 mechanical arms move with their own AI. In No Way Home, he overpowered Tom Holland's Spider-Man almost effortlessly until the nanotech finally hijacked his tentacles. That moment alone proves he can outmuscle a wall crawler in a straight fight, something every villain below him simply can't pull off. The arms outclass Scorpion's tail in raw versatility, and the brain behind them outclasses everyone we've covered so far. That's why Otto sits comfortably above the rest. Number 15. Lizard. Kurt Connors is the first character on this list whose powers come from inside his own body, not a suit or a weapon. Once the serum hits, he's pure muscle. Reptilian strength, regenerative healing, claws, and a tail that hits like a wrecking ball. In No Way Home, he tossed Spider-Man around like he weighed nothing, and the only reason that fight ended is because Peter cured him mid-battle. The thing keeping him from climbing higher is the lack of finesse. He's an animal in his worst moments, and he can be talked down or reverted. But pound for pound, in raw physical terms, he's genuinely tougher than every villain we've covered before this. Before we keep going, quick favor. I'm trying to grow this channel, and all I need from you is a like and a subscribe. You can also use your hype points to help the video get pushed out further. Thanks for the support. Enjoy the rest of the video. Number 14. Green Goblin. Norman Osborn is the upgrade. Same kind of formula-based power as Lizard, but with a brain that's actually scarier than the muscles.
Osborn?
Willem Dafoe's Goblin in No Way Home was the emotional center of that movie for a reason. He killed Aunt May, broke Spider-Man, and went toe-to-toe with 3 different versions of him at once. Pumpkin bombs, the glider, enhanced strength, regenerative healing, and a complete absence of moral breaks make him the most genuinely dangerous human-tier villain in the entire Spidey roster. He's strong, but more importantly, he's terrifyingly smart about being strong. Number 13, Spider-Gwen. Gwen Stacy from Earth 6'5" brings the full Spider-Man package and then some. She has the proportional strength of a spider, enhanced agility, healing factor, spider sense, and a level of acrobatic skill that even Peter Parker on his best day can't always match. Within the Spider-Verse pages, she's held her own against the Spot, against Miles, and even against Spider-Man 2099 himself. The reason she lands here and not higher is mostly an experience curve. She's still developing compared to the variants higher on this list, but she's already comfortably stronger than every traditional Spider-Man villain we've covered up to this point. Number 12, Sandman. Flint Marko is a walking sandstorm. His molecular structure shifts between solid and granular at will, which makes him basically immune to physical attack. Punch him, he absorbs it. Stab him, he reforms. Drop a building on him, he comes back as a wall of sand the size of a building himself. In No Way Home and Spider-Man 3, he's shown going toe-to-toe with Peter without ever really getting knocked out. The only thing that puts him here and not in the top 10 is that water and electricity actually work on him. Outside of those 2 weaknesses, Sandman is genuinely close to unstoppable. Number 11, Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Across Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, the core kit stays remarkably consistent. Proportional spider strength that lets him stop moving vehicles and trade blows with enhanced villains, reflexes fast enough to dodge bullets at close range, the spider sense that warns him before an attack lands, wall crawling, and web shooters that range from mechanical to organic to full nanotech depending on the version. What separates Peter from every villain below him is the combination, since each ability feeds into the next. The only reason he's at 11 is that stronger variants and a few cosmic tier threats are sitting right above him on this list. Number 10, Miles Morales. Miles is Peter's natural progression. Same proportional spider strength, same agility, same healing, but with 2 upgrades that change everything. The Bio-Electric Venom Blast, which can knock out enemies way above his weight class, and the camouflage ability that lets him go fully invisible. In Across the Spider-Verse, he's pushed all the way against the Spot, against Spider-Man 2099, against an entire spider society at once, and he still comes out on top. Miles is the future of Spider-Man, full stop, and his ceiling is genuinely higher than Peter's because he carries those extras into every single fight. Number 9, Symbiote Spider-Man. This is Peter Parker with a passenger. The Venom symbiote bonded to him doesn't just give him a slick black suit. It boosts his strength multiple times over, sharpens his reflexes, generates organic webbing on demand, and amplifies his aggression to dangerous levels. Spider-Man 3 showed this version overpowering both Sandman and New Goblin without breaking a sweat. He's basically Peter at his physical peak with all the inhibitions stripped away. The only reason he sits here and not higher is that the symbiote works against him as much as it works for him, and Peter eventually has to rip it off. Number 8, Electro. Max Dillon is energy in human form. Jamie Foxx's version in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home is essentially walking lightning in a hoodie. He flies, he absorbs electricity from any source he can find, he fires off megawatts of plasma, and at full charge, he can power entire city grids on his own. In No Way Home, he straight up said this was the most powerful version of him he'd ever been, and the visuals 100% backed it up. The reason he sits at 8 and not higher is that he's vulnerable to overload in water, but on offense, he hits harder than almost anyone we've covered. Number 7, Symbiote. We're not talking about one symbiote here. We're talking about the entire species. Venom, Carnage, Toxin, Riot, Anti-Venom, the whole family tree. Each one is functionally near immortal, regenerates almost instantly, has access to enhanced strength, shape-shifting, weaponized tendrils, and a hive mind link back to their creator. Number 6, Xenophages. This is one of the deeper cuts on the list, and it pays off. Xenophages were created by Null, specifically to hunt and devour symbiote. Venom: The Last Dance brought them to live action for the first time, and that movie made very clear how dangerous these things actually are. They tank symbiote attack, they absorb the abilities of every symbiote they kill, and they hunt in pack. They're functionally a hard counter to the entire group, sitting at number 7. Anything that's specifically engineered to eat the symbiotes belongs above the symbiotes themselves. Number 5. Hulk. Hulk is in Brand New Day, and that confirmation alone bumps him into this conversation. We know we're getting both Grey Hulk and the classic Green Hulk in some form during the film, but we don't yet know which version actually shows up at which power level. There's also the long-running issue that Marvel almost never lets Hulk reach his comic ceiling on screen, and honestly, putting him much further down would have been a fair argument purely for that reason. But Sony genuinely seems to be listening to fans on Brand New Day, so I didn't want to lowball him to Avengers era levels either. Top tier feels right, but not the absolute top. Number 4. Spider-Man 2099. Miguel O'Hara is on a different level from every Spider-Man we've covered. His DNA was rewritten with spider genetics, giving him retractable talons, fangs with paralyzing venom, accelerated vision, and superior physical strength compared to Peter or Miles. On top of all that, he runs a multiversal organization in Across the Spider-Verse, commanding an entire spider society and holding the canon of reality together by force of personality alone. He physically dominated Miles in their fight, and Miles is no slouch. Combat skill, raw physical ability, and authority over the multiverse put Miguel above every other web-slinger here. Number 3. The Spot. Jonathan Owen looked like a joke villain at first, and that was the whole trick. By the end of Across the Spider-Verse, he reveals himself as the most dangerous threat the Spider-Verse has ever produced. He generates portals at will between any 2 points anywhere in the multiverse. He tears space itself open. He absorbs entire dimensions into his body. By the cliffhanger, he's already capable of erasing universes, and Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to push that even further. He sits at number 3 because his ceiling is genuinely cosmic, and there's no spider variant on this list who actually counters him in a real fight. Number 2. Jean Grey. Jean is on this list specifically because Brand New Day is reportedly her live-action MCU debut, played by Sadie Sink. Even at her early stage telekinetic and telepathic baseline, Jean is already one of the strongest mutants Marvel has ever put on a page. Mind control, telepathy, telekinesis, flight, and that's all before the Phoenix Force ever enters the conversation. If Brand New Day is just her introduction and Avengers Secret Wars is where she fully breaks open, that's a power scale jump. Nothing on this list except Knull can survive. Number 2 is the floor for Jean, not even close to the ceiling. Number 1. Null. Null just made his very first cinematic appearance ever in Venom: The Last Dance, played by Andy Serkis, and there is no character on this list that touches him. He's older than the universe itself. He created the symbiotes. He created the xenophages. He created the Necro Sword that ended up in Gore, the God Butcher's hands in Thor: Love and Thunder. He's literally described as the abyss made flesh. Immortality, divine power, darkness manipulation, portal creation across galaxies, and limited omniscience put him in a tier above absolutely everything. Even imprisoned and weakened, he was running the entire Venom trilogy from behind the curtain. There is no scenario in this list where Null doesn't sit at number 1. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you want to be the first to know about new videos, you can subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the next one.